Hello guys, this is Chetan Mehta from Skill Cubator, and in today's session we'll see how to answer some of the basic questions in an interview. Now, most of the candidates they get these questions and they often get scared in answering them. So to give some context around that, as we do all our work, all the business analysis work is being done as part of the project. Now, most of the questions will be around your project. What did you do in the project? What was your contribution? Who was the client? What was the project all about? So you need to be very thorough with these kind of answers, and there are different ways these answers can be given, but I will give you a very simple, at the same time very effective way of nailing down these kind of questions. So to begin with, let's understand what is a project. So a project is something like you are building something. It can be a tollway, it can be a building, it can be a system application, it can be an airport. It's all about creating that entity which will have a definite start date and a definite end date. And once you are completed, once you are finished creating that, the project is considered to be completed, over. So a temporary endeavor with a definite start and end date, that's a project. Once the project is delivered, you call it as part of operations and maintenance, right? So as some examples I gave, building an airport, a bridge, tollway, system application, right? So it will have a definite start date, a definite end date during which you will build these things, and once these are done, they will be shifted to the O&M mode, what we call the operations and maintenance mode, where we need to still maintain it and we still need to operate it. So since majority of our work as a business analyst is done in a projectized environment, you need to know in and out about each of your projects. Now this is just a little bit of explanation on what are the different phases of an interview. So the first phase is like an opening phase where both the parties, the interviewer as well as the interviewee, kind of try to understand each other, get acclimatized with the environment, with all the different folks in the interview, right? And it's also what we call a quick snapshot of the experience, of your experience. It's like an elevator talk. You give a quick snapshot of what you did in all these years. That's the opening phase. Then comes the technical phase where most of the questions are around the technical topics, like what is a use case, what is a user story, how do you write the Gherkin syntax, right? What is include, what is extend, right? What are intermediate events in a BPMN? So these kind of things are asked in the technical phase. But the third one is where I want to emphasize, which is the project based questions. So all the questions in this phase are mainly around your projects. What did you do in the project? What was the project all about? Can you please explain some of the issues you had on the project? Right? So these kind of questions. And you need to be thorough with these questions and answers, because this will be the deal maker for you to get the job. Anybody can go and learn about the use case, user stories from the internet, but these kind of questions are used to filter out between the real candidates and fake candidates, or good candidates and bad candidates. Okay. And then of course you have the behavioral questions like, please tell me where do you want to see 5 years down the line, all these kind of questions. And finally it's a closing phase where again, both the parties, they try to explain the highlights, the key points, and then finally the interview is closed. But I'll go back to this phase because that's where most of the people fail and they are unable to get the job because of these questions. Now, as I said, some of the questions related to the project will be, can you please tell me about the project? Can you please explain me your XYZ project you did with XYZ client? Can you tell me about some of the challenges you faced on the project? Because if you don't have any challenges, don't have any issues, it's very unlikely that you have worked in that project. What kind of structure you had on the project? What kind of team structure you had? What kind of SDLC environment you had? Can you please tell me what your role was on the project? So these are different questions surrounding the project, but there is a very easy way to tackle all of these questions. So what I recommend is to prepare a cheat sheet for each of the projects, and each cheat sheet will be your guide to study and to answer any of the questions which are related to the project. So the first section of the template is, or the cheat sheet is, the opening section, where you will talk about little bit about yourself and how you are related to the project. So I worked for so and so client as a BA, business analyst, from so and so duration. Right? That's basically setting the stage so that you can elaborate what exactly the project was all about. The second section in the template is you talk a little bit about the client, because it's important for everyone to know that who the client was and what they were into, what kind of product and services they are offering, which market segment it offers, it caters to. So these kind of things you need to explain. The third element is very important in the cheat sheet, the issues and the pain points. So here you are trying to explain what were the main reasons why the project was initiated. So for example, the lack of automation around the key business processes, right? The client had heavy usage of different COTS tools across different departments. Lack of standardization across the different processes, right? Redundant IT infrastructure, system working in silos, and unscalable architecture. So these are the different pain points, the issues, the bottlenecks the client was facing. So you are trying to first explain the issues so that the next thing what you can do is you can explain the solution, what the solution was in order to address these pain points or issues. So the next section in your cheat sheet is your solution. That is, what was the solution overall at a high level which was implemented in order to solve those pain points. Now you don't have to go into detail and explain each and every requirement, but just keep it at a 10,000 feet level. Just say that we re-engineered the key processes, we automated all the tasks which were done manually, we identified the tasks which were redundant, we eliminated those tasks, right? For example, the application was built on COBOL mainframe. There was a transformation done to move the COBOL mainframe application to the Java based environment. So these are some of the key highlights you should give to explain the solution which was delivered as part of the project. The next section in the cheat sheet will be about the project environment. That means it can also be about the team structure. What kind of team environment was that? Also, the important question is what kind of SDLC environment was used to deliver the project? Was it waterfall? Was it pure agile, scrum, or was it in between somewhere? The next element is what you did on the project and how you contributed towards the success of the project. Now, this is basically your role and responsibilities coming from your resume, but don't read it out. Just make it look like a story, make it look like a conversation. Right? So what you did on the project, and this is exactly what you should have on your resume. Like for example, you worked with a product owner and SMEs in identifying the business needs and wrote the user stories. You worked with the Scrum team as part of the Scrum sprint planning sessions and other different ceremonies, right? Those kind of things. And the last but not the least, you should know the tools you used on the project. So this is also a key element here in getting you the job, that what were the tools you used on the project. Now, some people can also be asked, can you please tell me the version you used, which version of the tool you used? So I would recommend to also have that information handy and prepare yourself for the worst case scenario when somebody is asked that, can you please tell me the version of that MS Visio you used on the project? That is basically to check whether this person has really used the tool or not. Now, you may not know the version, but if you are not prepared, you are going to fumble on that. So the best thing you can do is you can say that I use MS Visio on so and so project. If you don't know, just say that, I really don't know the exact version, but I believe it was so and so version. So you are just hedging your answer saying that I'm not sure, but I believe the version was 2.4.2 something, right? But make sure you do some research and write down those versions so that in case of such questions appear in your interview, you can field them. And the last thing is, don't make it look like a Q&A session. Make it look like a conversation. Make it look like as if you're talking to somebody and not giving just the answers right from the textbook. That's a key thing here in any interview. Your confidence, your body language, and the way you present your answers will be very key. Even though you don't give your all the answers to the point, that's okay. As long as you show some level of confidence and you show some level of excitement to get the job. So that's all for now. And thank you all for listening and watching this small video. For all your training needs, please contact us on www.skillcubator.com. You may also call us back on 703-200-9921 and just feel free to email us at info@skillcubator.com. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye.